Also known as, full-screen wife, only I am selling power. The gentleness of crossing into parallel worlds has become an countless 18th-tier female artist with black materials. In order to make money in whitewash, she participated in the reality show, Celebrity Wife Married. Other actresses focused on live streaming the daily life of their rural daughter-in-law, but she went crazy killing at her husband's house. Holding the big round table with one hand, doesn't even Lu Zhishen have such strength? Slack a big goose in 1 minute, it's too fierce. Damn it, today I endorse the kitchen knife, tomorrow I endorse the iron pot, what do I have to endorse the day after tomorrow, Jean Cola fertilizer. With a gentle smile, he said, of course he's endorsing the village. Everyone thought she was joking, but to their surprise, she took rural construction seriously. So my mother-in-law went crazy and said, what? The farmhouse has not opened yet, and the orders are already scheduled for the end of the year. The village chief was stunned and said, is the supply and marketing agency selling out of camellia? Are the travel agencies also full? The director jumped up and said, my good reality show, how did it become the hottest rural live streaming sales? The netizen was confused and said, I was originally here to see a celebrity become his wife, but who knew that now I'm here to see a celebrity transform the countryside? Keywords of the novel. Being on the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law variety show, with a heart in rural construction without pop-ups, being on the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law variety show, with a heart in rural construction. Download the complete set of TXT, being on the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law variety show, with a heart in rural construction. Read the latest chapters on rural construction. Chapter 1. Wearing a variety show for mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 1. Wearing a variety show for mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, no one in the village even wants a female celebrity. Do you want to see what it would be like for a female celebrity to marry into the countryside? Can goddesses who become rural wives adapt to local life? Hello everyone, Chinese New Year. Welcome to the special variety show, Celebrity Wife Married. I am Zhu Dan, the host, and I am honored to host this program. First of all, I wish everyone a happy new year, reunion, peace, and abundant wealth. This is the first time our station has filmed a family reality show. Our staff will marry the goddesses to the countryside and live stream their married lives 24 hours a day. On TV, Zhu was single in a formal dress, full of energy, and continued to introduce himself. Now, let me announce the 5 guests participating in the program. Then, photos of 5 guests appeared on the screen, posing gracefully, but their faces were covered and blank. With a "wow" exclamation from the audience, Zhu Dan excitedly opened his hand and shouted at the photo, Zhang Ji, Huang Yi, Qiu Qiu, Li Mingming. Every time she calls out a name, the corresponding face will appear. Finally, it's our popular little flower, Gentle. The introduction is complete, and all 5 faces appear. After the answer was revealed, the barrage in the live broadcast room also became lively. What level of gentleness is it worth filming with those 4 people? Have you gone through the back door with gentleness? If you want acting skills without acting skills, if you want works without works, why are you still a popular little flower? Be a popular joke. You only know how to hype up. I'm here for my family's goddess Zhang, I'll just skip the gentleness. When she woke up gently, she sat in the car, with the driver in the front row and staff carrying cameras. The camera was almost on her face. Outside the car window was a vast expanse of green, deep in the mountains. The car had already stopped, and the roadside was filled with people. These people are wearing outdated clothes, their faces are ashen, but the corners of their mouths are filled with smiles. Gentle and somewhat stunned, scenes appeared in her mind, and the person in her memory was her, not her. Quickly, she came to a conclusion. She traveled through time and onto a small star in parallel time and space. The original owner was selected from the show and was a bit famous. However, his business ability was poor and he was often ridiculed. He had no position in the entertainment industry. Once he appeared, there were a lot of black powder roast. In order to salvage her image this time, the agency put her into a variety show, intending to go deep into the mountains, pretend to marry into the countryside, and become a capable and qualified rural daughter. In the words of her agent, this reality show can fully showcase her charm. The company has arranged a cute and charming wife character for her, which is currently popular. As long as she performs well, she can definitely wash away the white and attract fans. At first, the original owner did not agree, but later he simply couldn't get a job and became poor. The price offered here was also high, so he finally gave up. Gentle and speechless, I didn't expect that in a different time and space, she would still be a penniless worker. Since she has money to take it, she will consider it as a trip. She was originally a small town swat from the countryside, but the rural area selected by the program group was much more backward than her hometown. This is a famous impoverished village in the country, where many girls and children cannot attend school and have to get married at a young age. At this point, all 5 celebrities arrived at their destination, with different locations arranged by the production team. Gentleness was on the mountain. On the screen, Zhu Dan continued, "The 5 goddesses have arrived safely. Are you all curious like me about what kind of newlywed life the goddesses will experience?" At this point, 5 split screens appeared on the TV, showing the experiences of 5 celebrities, and there was also a QR code in the lower right corner. Scan to enter the goddesses' exclusive live broadcast room and watch the latest updates. Zhang Ji's destination is at the foot of the mountain. As soon as the program team's car enters the village, there is a crowd of people playing gongs and drums at the entrance, and 4 villagers carrying large red sedan chairs. Zhang Ji changed into a beautiful sailor suit and painted a simple light makeup. When she got out of the nanny car, her whole body seemed to be shining. "Is the sedan chair here to pick me up? It's so interesting." Zhang Ji's face was filled with a smile and she happily sat in the sedan chair. The barrage is wildly flashing. The goddess is so beautiful and greasy. This is the most classic movie style of the goddess, dreaming of being young. Huang Yi's car stopped at the edge of the mountain road, with an endless tea garden next to it. There were many local villagers wearing ethnic costumes picking tea, singing melodious mountain songs while picking. Huang Yi was dressed as a noblewoman, with a neatly cut dress and a branded handbag. Her graceful act of taking off her sunglasses seemed like she was on a sightseeing trip. Is there no one around? What's the situation? Huang Yi is a bit confused. But netizens don't sympathize with her very much. Why did the lady come to the reality show? Wearing a famous brand, what is the nobility of entertainment inside? It's just weird, the production team has given too much. Autumn is the smoothest season. As soon as the car comes to a stop, it sits in a sedan chair, and the location where the sedan is parked is less than 100 meters away from the husband's house. The whole village was watching, curious to see the beautiful bride. Autumn looked expectant and said, "Actually, I never thought about getting married. I am very grateful to the program team for giving me this opportunity. I also want to know what life will be like after getting married. Will my mother-in-law treat me well like my mother?" The barrage was harmonious. Embrace Sister Chiu. Sister Chiu married me, and my whole family treats you like an old Buddha. Rolling calf, the goddess is mine. Li Mingming's wedding reception was the most exaggerated. The production team sent her to the village square. As soon as she got off the car, there were 8 tall harvesters in all directions. The harvester was covered in red silk fabric and a banner was pulled up, "Warmly welcome the wife of the Wang family from Annan village back home." Li Mingming was wearing a princess dress. At first, when she saw the harvester approaching her, she was frightened. When she saw the banner, she excitedly covered her mouth, her eyes shining like deer. How romantic. Li Mingming watched as a tall and powerful man jumped off the harvester and shyly lowered his head. Thank you, I really like it. But the audience couldn't bear to watch. Hey, this is just a show. Fake marriage, don't take it seriously. Love brain, it's hopeless. I think it's quite cute. The man's family is very dedicated and values the goddess. These 4 goddesses did not show any resistance, as if they had truly married into the local area and followed the local customs harmoniously. On the gentle side, the cameraman noticed that she was hesitant and thought she was feeling uncomfortable. Gently waving his hand, he said it was okay, trimmed his hair, and then walked down. She is the youngest and slender, yet she dresses very loosely. As soon as the wind blew over, all her clothes swelled up, as if the next second she was about to follow the wind and blow away together. She wore 2 fried dough twists braids and stood there. Wen was quiet and dazzling white. The cameraman couldn't help but start worrying, can such a delicate little girl survive in the mountains and valleys? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Xia Mawei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Xia Mawei. In the distance, a group of people were waiting there, and besides the big red sedan, the ground was also filled with agricultural tools. Our custom here is that the bride has to pick up these tools, and the more she picks up, the more capable she becomes. Gently looking at the leading lady, she asked softly, "Excuse me, are you?" Auntie was quite enthusiastic, grabbing her gentle arm and carefully examining her, saying, "You look good, you look really good." With clear eyebrows and beautiful eyes, it appears to be an obedient person. She looked more and more delighted, her tone full of satisfaction. "Me, Sun Yunyang, your mother.in.law." Gentle smile, with a warm smile. Everyone looked eagerly at the mother.in.law and daughter.in.law, and the camera brother also started up close, wanting to shoot a warm scene. Gently and slowly moving forward, Sun Yunyang also blushed in time, waiting for her daughter.in.law's embrace. Unexpectedly, gentleness did not embrace her, but instead pushed away Sun Yunyang. "Do you still know that you are my mother.in.law, not my mother?" Her voice is sweet and not loud. Although he was still laughing, he was like a little cat, showing his sharp claws and scratching everyone's hearts fiercely. The strength is not great, but the damage is strong. Sun Yunyang was confused and hadn't reacted yet. Gentleness is like a series of firecrackers. I dare say that before your son got married, there was no one at home to work, right? The whole family was waiting for me to come and serve. With so many tools, having to do household chores and work in the fields, tenant farmers don't have to endure such hardship, do they? Open your eyes and take a look. Now is the new society, and these bad habits need to be changed. When she spoke gently, not only did she startle the villagers, but even the host Zhu Dan was so shocked that she couldn't speak and encountered a Waterloo in her hosting career. Everyone didn't expect this little girl to be so gentle and weak, yet her words were so unpleasant. The villagers couldn't help but mutter. The little girl looks quite friendly, but unfortunately, she has a broken mouth and just arrived. It made her mother.in.law lose face. I didn't hear clearly what she just said, such as tenant farmers or new era. Sun Yunyang is such a strong person, but this time she's unlucky enough to marry her son with an ancestor. Look at her like that, with thin arms and legs, she doesn't seem to be able to work, and she's very sharp with her bare mouth. The staff of the production team became anxious, and the cameraman also advised, "Gentle, if you're like this, the program won't be able to move forward. Take people's money and provide them with disaster relief." The program announcement fee has been received, but if the program cannot be promoted due to her, she cannot afford the huge penalty for breach of contract. For the sake of money, gently bend down immediately. Leave it to me. When Rochong, the camera brother, nodded and picked up the tools without saying a word. She held all the agricultural tools in her arms in one breath. Watching her stumble, everyone began to feel sorry for this weak yet hardworking little girl again. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly eased, and the villagers cheered. Sun Yunyang, who had originally turned black, looked much better. This child is really good at joking. He scared me just now. Don't be naughty again next time. Sun Yunyang was very satisfied with her gentle and easy-going behavior, so she lifted the curtain of the sedan chair. Come on, get on the sedan chair quickly, don't miss the auspicious time. Gently holding the tool, she struggled to move it over, and without saying a word, she stuffed everything in her arms into Sun Yunyang. You are the best and most capable mother-in-law in the world, and you will continue to work hard in the future. After speaking, she got on the sedan chair, pulled the curtain, and never gave Sun Yunyang a chance to talk again. The big guy finally realized that gentleness was picked up for Sun Yunyang. Good guy, before you even enter, give your mother-in-law a thumbs up. The little girl now is indeed impressive. Not only does she not want to work, but she also needs to be taken care of by her mother-in-law. Sun Yunyang was anxious at the moment, but the program was still being recorded and she didn't have a good time. It was only during a solo interview that she began to complain. Auntie, have you ever thought about what your future daughter-in-law would look like before gentleness arrived? I'm 40.2 years old now. I married into the Chow family very early. I take care of my parents-in-law, my husband, and I also clean the house, do farm work, raise pigs and chickens. These are all things I do. Later, I gave birth to 3 more dolls, which I raised all by myself. I thought to myself, if I had a wife, I would be more relaxed and someone could take care of me. If it weren't for Sun Yunyang's self-proclaimed age, it would be hard to tell that she is 40.2 years old. After all, the goddess Zhangji who participated in the program is 30.8 years old, and her old age is completely unrecognizable. It's just a 4-year difference, but it looks like it's from another generation. I have no other requirements for my future daughter-in-law, just help me share the burden and be capable. Are you satisfied with gentleness? When it came to gentleness, Sun Yunyang had a speechless expression and the corners of her mouth rolled down. This level of dissatisfaction can overflow through the screen. According to the rules of the Chow family, they entered the house gently, kowtowed to offer tea, changed their tune, and finally, friends and family came over to have a wedding banquet in the yard. The sedan chair swayed and sat gently inside, shaking up all kinds of meat and vegetables. When I hit the sedan chair, my legs were weak, and sweat was oozing from my pale face. She wanted to stand and relax for a while, but Sun Yunyang still remembered her past grudges. She didn't want to delay the auspicious time, so she pulled her straight into the room. As soon as she entered the room, Sun Yunyang sat with her man and ignored her. Kneel down quickly to offer tea, another staff member urged as they brought the prepared tea bowl. Kneel down. Gentle and impatient, biting his lips. She's already dizzy, can't she let someone take a break? Dad, Mom. Gently took the teacup, propped up her spirits, and stood straight. You can change your mouth, but kneeling down is impossible. Even if it's her biological parents, she hasn't knelt before. How could she kneel in law? She just married to become a daughter-in-law, not a servant. The villagers stood at the door, watching as the person who had just gone to pick up the bride added fuel to their gentle actions. This time, seeing her not kneeling down again, everyone shook their heads in amazement. The daughter-in-law of the Chow family is really unfilial. Sun Yunyang glared at the gentleness, then looked at the villagers outside. She didn't want to lose face, so she reached out her hand and prepared to take the tea bowl that gentleness handed over. After today, she had a way to make this towering celebrity's daughter-in-law feel submissive. Gentle and dizzy, with a tumultuous stomach. She ignored the big hand that Sun Yunyang extended, looked at the teacup in her hand, looked up, and drank the tea without stopping, without leaving a drop. Facing the stunned crowd again, she was unusually happy and said, I did it, you can do whatever you want. The sedan chair that has been sitting for a long time happened to be thirsty. The tea suppressed the nausea, and she improved a lot. Uncle Chow stared at Gentleness as if he were looking at a monster, then turned his head and gave Sun Yunyang a reproachful glare. He clenched his fist, and if it weren't for the large number of people and the money from the production team, he would have given this disobedient daughter-in-law a hard lesson. Sun Yunyang knew her husband's temper and gritted her scalp. She responded with a "hey" and handed the prepared red envelope for a change of mouth to Gentle. Uncle Chow's face was ugly and he stared at the door. The villagers outside were watching the excitement, and a few young people took out their phones and entered the word "gentle" in the search bar. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Is a 3-no actress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 is a 3-no actress. The 4 female stars who married to Annan village have high popularity, and the villagers have seen their works to some extent. Apart from Gentleness, little is known about her. However, her gentle and bold behavior has aroused the curiosity of young people towards her. I thought he was an unknown little celebrity, but when I searched for him, I found a lot of black information. Surprisingly, I was my younger sister in elementary school, dropped out of middle school, and now I am a desperate illiterate in the entertainment industry. In the behind-the-scenes footage, Gentleness reads ambiguity as warmth. Selected from the audition, singing and dancing are not good, and acting skills are also not good. Chewing gum before going on stage, you really know how to play big. Danghong Xiaohua is extremely vicious. Fans of the female lead sister Ling went to visit and happened to have dinner. The second female character in the drama, WR, took the opportunity to get 20 boxed meals, but didn't bring any free soup or drinks. She pretended to be a good person and gave them to Sister Ling's fans. In fact, she was jealous of Sister Ling and wanted to choke her fans to death. Gentle suffering from poliomyelitis, eyes as blind as a blind person, limbs severely uncoordinated, can even fall on flat ground. Her fans market beauty every day, but no director really likes it, ha ha ha. A pile of black material caught the eye and quickly spread among the villagers. Some viewers happened to switch to the Gentle live broadcast room and saw the Gentle black fans frantically brushing the screen. 18-tier female artists, who appeared on the show through the back door, are also annoying and have no talent. Playing big tricks again, I don't even know how to kneel down and offer tea. I can't understand people's language with a primary school diploma. Polio, I can't kneel down. Yes, she will only fall into a dog and eat shit. During the draft, I dragged my teammates down, but now I'm dragging the show team down. However, there are also some passers-by who cannot bear to watch. I support Gentleness. Nowadays, it's all about marriage. There's no such thing as marriage, so there's no need to be inferior. The Qing dynasty has long been destroyed, and there is no heir to the throne in the family. Do we still need someone to kneel and worship? I can't accept it either. Women have gold under their knees. If my parents-in-law were like this, I wouldn't have entered this family's door at all. It's too feudal. A chubby middle-aged aunt squeezed in and approached Sun Yunyang, adding fuel to the gossip she had just heard. Although her voice was small, tenderness could still be heard. Sun Yunyang's face turned pale, and she tightly packed her red envelope. Thank you, parents. Gentle and afraid that Sun Yunyang would regret it, she quickly went to collect the red envelope. Sun Yunyang was clearly not very happy, and she gently and forcefully tugged before reluctantly letting go. Following the principle of having milk is the mother, she gently smiled at her in-laws with a sincere smile. Although the red envelope is not big, at least I have money. Before entering the mountains, the production team confiscated their phones and money. It is also stipulated that if you need money, you can only ask your mother-in-law for it. It would be great to have some money by my side at this moment. We're going to have the wedding banquet soon. You go to the kitchen to cook, Sun Yunyang snorted coldly, disdainful and unwilling to look at her daughter-in-law again. At the beginning, the production team selected 5 family members, including her. Originally, the production team arranged for the most famous Zhang Ji to marry into her family, but she immediately chose gentleness and refused Zhang Ji. She thinks the name, gentle, is good, she must be a thoughtful and good daughter-in-law. Unexpectedly, I chose one of the worst celebrity daughter-in-law after another. The black material mentioned by Aunt San is enough to prove that gentleness is a 3-no girl, lacking in education, ability, and status. Even the girls in Annan village can't compare, at least the local girls understand the rules. San Auntie put away her phone and no longer focused on checking the rumors. Instead, she looked at Sun Yunyang anxiously and said, "Sister, she looks like that and can't cook at first glance. There are 4 tables in the yard, so on a happy day, it's better not to let her do it to avoid making a joke." After speaking, she rolled up her sleeves and was about to go to the kitchen to help, but was stopped by Sun Yunyang. When this morning star enters, the face of the Chow family has long been disgraced. Let her do it, let the audience take a good look, so as not to be confused by her appearance. When she really can't do it, she will naturally come to beg us. San Auntie understood and agreed, yes, we can't get used to her. A new daughter-in-law like gentleness may not be able to handle it in the future if she doesn't give a thumbs up when she enters the door. The kitchen of Chow's family is not big, and there aren't many ingredients inside, but the advantage lies in its freshness. Either it's from the mountains, or it's from our own chickens and ducks. On TV, the big shot happened to cut to the gentle side. Zhu Dan had been intimidated by gentleness before, and now he chooses to take the initiative. Is gentleness there? Can you hear me? Gently stood in front of the stove, holding a kitchen knife with one hand. The sunlight shone through the narrow window, shining on her face, while her body still stood in the darkness. Half bright and half dark, unable to see the expression on her face clearly. Zhu Dan's heart trembled, feeling that the scene in front of her was very similar to the scene in a horror movie where a killer demon dismembers. She abandoned all distractions and smiled to mediate the atmosphere, saying, "What are you going to do?" "We need to make 4 dishes," answered gently and honestly. She was expressionless, actually thinking about the menu in her mind. Zhu Dan continued to ask, "Can you disclose the specific dishes you make?" "A table of 6 cold dishes, 2 large dishes, 6 stir-fried dishes, and 1 soup." Gently and silently counting the quantity, she turned the kitchen knife in her hand. The skillful technique shocked Zhu Dan, and the cold light reflected by the kitchen knife also mesmerized the camera brother's eyes. Even if it's a big pot of rice, dividing it into 4 tables, gentle enough to make 15 dishes. I heard before that gentle limbs are not flexible and can even fall on flat ground. How can you still use a kitchen knife now? Zhu Dan was a bit tired of words and continued with a professional attitude, "Can gentleness handle the meals at the 4 tables? Let's wait and see. Gently scan the ingredients in the kitchen, draw lines in your mind, connect the corresponding ingredients, and plan the most reasonable combination." She didn't pay any attention to what Zhu Dan said, and with a flick of her hand, the kitchen knife landed firmly on the cutting board. Zhu Dan was about to cut into someone else's live broadcast room when he unintentionally looked up and saw the gentle scene in the room. In the end, it froze on the chopping board, with a kitchen knife standing upright on it. The kitchen knife is polished, shiny and very sharp. Zhu Dan had a sweat on his face. When interviewing the next actress, he almost pouted. The camera guy closely follows Tenderness, and in the camera, Tenderness is crouching in the corner, picking vegetable leaves. She was calm and composed, looking very quiet. In fact, her movements were very agile, and she quickly selected good and bad leaves. In no time, all the vegetables in the kitchen were selected and placed in the basket. These are common in the mountains, including wild vegetables, mushrooms, small lei bamboo shoots, seasonal Chinese cabbage, meigan kai, pickled cucumbers, salted duck egg, preserved eggs, etc. Nowadays, such pollution-free and self-grown food is considered a first-class delicacy and rare delicacy for urban residents. If it's meat, the Chow family has already prepared it. The killed chicken, duck, fish, a small amount of small river shrimp, and cut pork ribs are also on a plate with sausages, which looks like they are also made by farmers, making it perfect for cold dishes. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Full-time housewife system. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 4 Full-time housewife system. Do you need help with that? The camera guy politely asked as he saw his gentle hand touching garlic. In his impression, female celebrities rarely know how to cook, some only know 1 or 2 dishes, and most of them cannot take care of themselves in life. Moreover, they particularly dislike strong flavors, let alone handling scallions, ginger, and garlic. Thank you, brother. I can do it myself. With a slight force on her hand, she quickly peeled off a small bowl of garlic. Brother. The camera guy is a bit shy. However, the gentle garlic peeling technique is too clever for him to do. Do you often cook? The camera guy was curious. Gentleness didn't want to hide it, so she let out a I came from a small county town, which is actually a part of the urban-rural fringe. Whenever there is a busy farming season, my parents go to the countryside to help my grandparents with farm work. I am alone at home and can cook my own meals, but they are all simple dishes. Sometimes when my parents are too busy to eat, I also go to the fields to bring them food. When I first graduated, my friend invited me to participate in a talent show, but she didn't make it. However, I did and successfully debuted. In this industry, small celebrities like me have no connections, no background, and no academic background, and usually don't make much money. I am really poor. When there is filming, it's okay to have boxed meals. When there is no filming, I usually go to the market to buy groceries and cook. I usually go at night because there are fewer people and the dishes are discounted, which can save a lot of money. Gently and calmly washing and cutting vegetables, speaking quite naturally. Many viewers sympathize with gentleness, but there are also people who simply do not accept it. Gentleness is pretending to be pitiful again. When I was dealing with my in-laws just now, wasn't it very patient? Time is running out, and everyone is waiting for the banquet outside. Gentle is still grinding around here. I think she deliberately wanted to embarrass her husband's family. Laughing to death, they're all celebrities now, and they're still selling poorly. Resist gentleness, gentleness, get out of the show. Gently unable to see those comments, just thinking about the agent's words in my heart. The agent said that participating in this variety show is an excellent opportunity to whitewash, and talent must be showcased. She is at home and often helps her parents with small hands. She also knows a few home-cooked dishes. This time, her husband's family intentionally made things difficult and let her take care of 4 tables of food alone. Tired maybe a bit, but it's also a great opportunity to showcase her cooking skills. So you had a tough time when you were a child. The camera guy looked at gentleness and suddenly forgot about the dark stuff. In the entertainment industry, true or false, as an insider, he believes more in the feeling of actual contact. It's okay, they're just ordinary workers, she shrugged gently. Although his tone was very ordinary, the camera guy exuded a hint of strength. He worked even harder to carry the camera, striving to fully showcase the culinary skills of this actress. In the studio, the variety show has just started broadcasting, and the director and all staff dare not slack off and closely monitor various data. This is the first time that Blue Channel has collaborated with Douyin for live streaming, so the program team attaches great importance to audience feedback in Douyin's live broadcast room. Reviewer Xiao Lu is observing the goddess live broadcast room. At the beginning of the program, there is not much buzz at the moment, but the live broadcast room is very harmonious. Xiao Lu believes that if we continue to advance according to the current situation, the program will definitely become popular. He switched to the last goddess in the gentle live broadcast room and immediately frowned. The disharmonious comments almost brushed across the screen. "Director, it's not good," Xiao Lu reported immediately. The director was already highly vigilant, but upon hearing these words, he was immediately startled and ran to Xiao Lu's side. "The audience hates this actress very much and tells her to get lost." Xiao Lu hesitated and pointed to the screen. "Will she affect our program?" "What's wrong with me?" Xing breathed a sigh of relief and squinted at the screen. His gentle face was covered by a barrage of bullets, and he had little influence on this actress. The head of the production team is all used to hire these big shots, and there's not much money left. So we temporarily put in some tenderness to make up for it. Black and red are also red, as long as they can create popularity for the program. Xing pondered for a moment. "Keep it under observation for a while. It really doesn't work, just give her a reason to quit later on." Xiao Lu felt relieved. Xing turned around and whispered in confusion, "The little girl looks gentle, weak, and quite sweet. Why do the audience just dislike her?" At that time, he thought the gentle image was good and the asking price was low. He wanted to give young people a chance, so he didn't review the black materials and agreed directly. Half of the time has passed. Gently handle all the side dishes, cut them, wash them, and put them on a plate for later use. Wash the small river shrimp and pick the shrimp line. The rest is chicken, duck, fish and meat. She moved her muscles and bones, without blinking, picked up the processed fish and threw it onto the cutting board. She looked weak and raised her knife to chop meat, but it was grand and powerful, with a feeling of a golden knife and an iron horse. The chopped chicken, duck, fish and meat were also rinsed with clean water and placed on a plate. The side dishes filled the table, waiting for the pot to boil oil. Gently stretching his waist and neck, he squatted under the stove. There is no natural gas supply in the mountains, and it is not convenient to buy gas. Most of them, like the Chow family, use stoves and need to start their own fires. This type of stove is not very convenient to use, but when paired with a large iron pot, the cooked food will be particularly fragrant. Gently took a box of matches, wiped them, and soon the matches burned. She deliberately picked a ball of dry grass. She grabbed a clump of grass with one hand and a match with the other. After igniting the clump diagonally, she blew and quickly threw it into the stove. The flames in the stove were very small, and she threw some grass balls in. The flames quickly lit up, and the kitchen suddenly lit up. At this moment, she put the wooden block in. Watching the wood burn, I gently got up, washed my hands, walked to the stove, and placed my hands on top of the iron pot. Feeling the steaming heat, it's time to stir fry. Seeing all of this, the camera guy had a momentary daze, feeling that gentleness was just a capable local daughter. Lol. How could a female celebrity handle so many side dishes and cook so easily? The audience also noticed that there was much less black powder on the screen. You can talk nonsense, but you can't deceive people with work. It's time for dinner, and many people who use funny music are attracted to videos of gentle and peaceful cooking. I'm here to cook. It's time to order. What am I worried about doing? Is gentleness really good at cooking? She's from the countryside. What's wrong with the countryside? You look down on rural people. This chicken is not bad. At first glance, it looks like an authentic local chicken, longer than the chicken legs in the market. I'm a bit tempted to eat chicken legs and rice noodles. I think these pork ribs are also good, running mountain pigs. At the actual cooking stage, gentleness is still a bit nervous. She has never cooked such a dish for 4 tables before, so she couldn't control the quantity at once. I don't know how much oil to pour into such a large iron pot. More importantly, she has never been to Annan and is unaware of the local tastes. Just as she was worried, an electronic sound suddenly rang out in her mind. Ding! The full-time housewife system has been bound. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Jiangnan Baihua Chicken. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 5 Jiangnan Baihua Chicken. What is this? The legendary system. With the blessing of the system, I am gentle and happy, but a full-time housewife. She is at least a popular little flower. At a young age, why should she become a housewife? At this point, the system emits a sound again. Ding. Congratulations on successfully binding the host. We are now giving you a beginner gift package. Do you want to accept it? Gently, without hesitation, she shouted in her heart, accept. Ding. Congratulations on improving the host's physical fitness, increasing strength by 10. Obtain the basic skill of the housewife. Food mage. In an instant, my gentle mind was filled with cooking tutorials and my thinking became much more flexible. She only needs to glance at the ingredients, and the corresponding pairing methods and processing methods will appear in front of her, including which cooking method to use, how many grams of oil and salt to add, and how long to stir fry. With this skill, no matter how much food she cooks, she won't panic anymore. Since she entered the kitchen, she rolled up her sleeves. The small exposed arm showed a tight line, which shocked her instantly. She hasn't been exercising at all during this time. Where did the smooth muscle lines come from? A clear spring seemed to emerge from the soles of the feet, sweeping away the fatigue within the body from bottom to top, replacing it with an inexhaustible source of strength. Is this sudden surge of strength and beautiful muscles due to the system? She couldn't help asking, is it awesome to increase the power by 10? Ding. The host's original physical fitness was good, with a 10-point bonus and twice the strength of a man, making it easy to deal with various family problems. A housewife can withstand half of the sky. Gentle and somewhat speechless, the housewife needs so much strength just to cope with the family. Do household chores, farm work, and work to take care of children. Don't worry about this strength. Who wants to be a cow or a horse? So, is the food wizard only having a tutorial on home-cooked dishes? With the blessing of the system, gentleness is no longer satisfied with ordinary home-cooked dishes. In front of her, there is a wedding banquet to be held, and she hopes to have 1 or 2 big dishes that can hold the scene. Ding, will show the host the hidden function of the food mage. A lost famous dish. After going through the recipe gently and immediately, I decided on 2 courses. Pickled Chinese cabbage fish and Jiangnan chicken, and 6 courses of stir-fry for the rest of the vegetables. Pork ribs, make soup. For 6 courses of cold dishes, you can make duck with sauce, small radish with cold sauce, sausage, lettuce tomato salad, pickled cucumber with garlic, and finally make a double combination of salted duck egg and preserved eggs. With such a combination, these 4 dishes have finally taken shape. However, isn't this housewife's basic skills too incredible? What kind of family is worthy of such a housewife? In front of the camera, gently walked to the corner of the wall, picked up a bucket of water, effortlessly walked to the stove, and scooped the water into another pot. She poured oil into the pot here before the water boiled. As soon as the oil heated up, she threw a handful of Sichuan peppercorns in, fried them until fragrant, and then threw in scallions, ginger, and garlic. With a piercing sound, a warm aroma filled the kitchen. Gently follow the recipe in your mind and place the mushrooms, spring bamboo shoots, and a little chopped bacon in batches in a large iron pot. The heat was almost over, and she added a little salt, pepper, and light soy sauce, as well as some water, and let it sit for a while. A pickled and fresh dish that can freshen off a person's eyebrows is out of the pot. Gently, as soon as she put the dish on the plate, the camera of the big brother squeezed in. If it weren't for her flexible avoidance, she would probably have been bumped away. The camera guy stared straight at the dish and asked with a gentle and funny voice, "Do you want to eat it?" Think. The cameraman blurted out. It wasn't until he realized and looked up that he felt embarrassed and met the gentle gaze. It's all because this dish is so fragrant. The taste is like a magical hand, making his stomach itch and he can't help but lean over. "Don't worry, come back and eat together." Gently wiped her hands. The water in the pot boiled, and she threw the pork ribs into it to add some water and simply cleaned the frying pan. Following the same process, she quickly cooked 5 other stir-fry and divided them into 4 portions. She kept her hands on and threw the duck in, starting to make braised meat. And the pork ribs are already full of water and are boiling soup. At this moment, she made the cold sauce and handled the cold dishes properly. The camera guy saw that all the ingredients had been cooked, leaving only fish and chicken, and couldn't help but ask curiously, "Gentle, how do you make these two?" "Pickled Chinese cabbage fish and Jiangnan chicken with 100 flowers," she answered gently, fished out the cooked sauce duck and began to cut it. "I know pickled Chinese cabbage fish. What is Jiangnan 100-flower chicken? I have never heard of it." The camera brother looked at the plump sauce duck and licked his lips. "If you look, you'll know." The sauce duck had already finished processing and gently threw the chicken onto the chopping board, not in a hurry to chop it. Instead, it began to peel the chicken skin. She turned the kitchen knife in her hand, her eyes becoming more focused. The number of people in the live broadcast room is increasing, and the barrage is exploding in an instant. Turn. Kitchen knife. What's wrong with the swelling? I think she's so handsome. I love you, gentle husband. Blow it off. Jiangnan Baihua chicken is a lost famous dish. Even experienced chefs may not have heard of it, let alone know how to make it. Friends, I have gone through Baidu. Jiangnan Baihua chicken is like a chicken, not a chicken. It's amazing when you first eat it, and you never get tired of it. Eating is a blessing, receiving is a reward, and everyone is familiar with it. Jiangnan Baihua chicken is better than eating dragon meat. I want to eat. Want to eat plus 10086. The cameraman also saw those comments. He carried the camera and couldn't help but approach, focusing on gentleness throughout, and more importantly, on the chicken on the chopping board. Although it was an ordinary kitchen knife, it could easily separate the skin and meat until a whole chicken skin peeled off without any damage, and he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Not only him, but also netizens. At this moment, the intangible cultural heritage Cantonese cuisine master accidentally opened this program, staring at this set of smooth and flowing operations, amazed. Even he can only peel off the skin of the chicken's belly, but this person can peel off a whole piece. Who is she? I have decided not to miss out on such a good seedling. The assistant beside him quickly checked and said, a little celebrity, called gentleman. Inside the top Black Pearl chain restaurant, the CEO was accompanying shareholders to inspect the business situation, but accidentally glanced at the TV that was playing and immediately stopped. Who is she? The restaurant needs such a famous chef. The manager smiled and said, President, this is not a food show, it's just a variety show. Ask her to come to work, any amount of money is fine. The manager was puzzled. Who is willing to let celebrities go and run over to become chefs? At this point, gentleness has already taken out the processed shrimp. Annan Mountain is clear and beautiful. These shrimp should have been brought out by the Chow family from the underground river. Their bodies are very transparent and they are very clean small river shrimp. She quickly peeled the shrimp, added a little fat, ham, starch, pepper, sesame oil, and finally stirred it up to make a very elastic shrimp paste. In fact, to make it even more delicious, the original version also needs to add crab meat and crab roe, but the kitchen doesn't have these and can only make a simple version. The most difficult chicken skin has been processed. Now spread out the chicken skin, sprinkle flour on top, and evenly spread the shrimp glue on the chicken skin, with a consistent thickness. Put it into the pot and steam. The water boiled, and as the steam rose, the aroma also burst out. If you see the irons here, could you please click on a small collection and I'll give you a recommendation ticket to witness the strength of the irons. Ha ha ha, end of this chapter. Chapter 6. It's too delicious. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. It's too delicious. The camera guy swallowed his saliva and started discussing with the staff next to him. The Chow family should have reserved a seat for the members of the program team, right? We can also have a seat, can we? Definitely. Gently lifting another pot, the pork rib soup had already turned milky white. She added seasoning and served it out. She threw the fish into it and directly put the remaining stock into pickled Chinese cabbage to make pickled Chinese cabbage fish. I waited for a while again. Seeing that the Baihua chicken was about to be steamed, she put the original chicken oil into the pot, added sesame oil, a little water, salt, and sugar, and thickened it. It's steamed, she exclaimed happily. She took out the Baihua chicken, cut it into neat small pieces, drizzled it with the freshly made sauce, and placed 2 small green vegetables next to the plate, which looked very beautiful. Perfect in color, aroma, and taste. Gently holding the dish, she peeked out in front of the camera and said with a mischievous smile, "Jiangnan Baihua chicken is ready. Audience friends won't be able to eat it, so I'll help you taste it first. After finishing the dishes, you can prioritize tasting them in the kitchen, which is probably the privilege of housewives." She immediately picked up her chopsticks and took a bite, saying, delicious. When I took the first bite, the shrimp meat was refreshing, crispy, and had the aroma of chicken skin. The chicken skin was also crispy, really delicious and refreshing. Netizens can't believe that gentleness has truly made a legendary dish, effortlessly. I also want to eat, woo. I'm looking hungry. Can energy be generated? For example, if you follow a live broadcast room and become a lucky fan, you can receive a Jiangnan 100 flowers chicken. Netizens are greedy with their eyes and mouths. They watch pickled Chinese cabbage fish, spare rib soup, and all kinds of stir-fry. The primitive fireworks, as well as delicious food with a perfect combination of color, aroma, and flavor, have long been hungry. Not to mention netizens, even gentle oneself is amazed by this culinary skill. Like the basic skills of housewives. However, she was bound to the system, and ordinary housewives, for the sake of their families and children, transformed from girls who didn't know how to cook to housewives who could serve all the Manchu and Han families. The housewife is really great. When she finishes the program, she must go back to her hometown to accompany her mother. Those who should have come from the small courtyard and the village have all come over. Uncle Chow and Sun Yunyang were busy greeting guests, and everyone was sitting at the table. Uncle Chow asked Sun Yunyang to help in the kitchen. "You go and take a look, the female celebrities from the city who don't touch the sunshine with their 10 fingers, don't make a joke out of it." "I'm not going, isn't she quite capable? Besides, I'm my mother.in.law now, and when my daughter.in.law enters the house, there's no reason for my mother.in.law to work." Sun Yunyang was deliberately trying to embarrass gentleness, so she wouldn't easily help. Unless, gently bow down to her. Uncle Chow raised his hand and pretended to fight, "Are you going or not? On a happy day, don't let my old Chow family lose face." Sun Yunyang turned her head in fear and muttered, "I understand. I'll go help now." She came to the outside of the kitchen and was reluctant to go in. She spoke at the top of her throat and asked, "Gentle, are you ready? Everyone is waiting, the kitchen is quiet, but the chimney is emitting cooking smoke. This little girl won't mess up the food, will she?" Sun Yunyang's heart suddenly lifted, and she didn't care about anything else, so she quickly walked inside. It's okay to just smash 1 or 2, but if she takes action now, she can still save the situation. As a result, within 2 steps, a gentle and plain voice came out. "All right, come in." Sun Yunyang was stunned for a moment. For her, cooking 4 tables of food is also a difficult task that requires some physical exertion. Even if you are gentle and really know how to cook, after busy with 4 tables of food, you can't even breathe. Unless, gentleness doesn't cook and intentionally messes up the wedding banquet. Sun Yunyang became increasingly angry as she thought about it. She strode into the kitchen and said angrily, "I knew you." Before she could finish speaking, the long table was filled with a plethora of dishes, and she took a deep sniff. Fragrant, it's really too fragrant. Subconsciously swallowing her saliva, Sun Yunyang quickly walked to the long table and greedily looked at the dishes one by one. She has never seen any dishes before. These are probably the most upscale restaurants in the city that only offer delicious dishes, right? Did you do it all? Sun Yunyang asked incredulously. If it weren't for the gentleness she personally received and witnessing 2 staff members from the production team, with nothing but cameras, she would have suspected that these were vegetables purchased by the production team from the city. You taste it. Gently handed her a pair of chopsticks. The 2 rotating camera brothers were all out of nowhere, reaching out to grab chopsticks, but were snatched first by Sun Yunyang. She completely forgot her previous conflict with tenderness and focused on savoring the dishes before her. If it weren't for dividing it into 4 portions, which were too small, she would definitely have taken a few more bites. Delicious, really delicious. Sun Yunyang couldn't help but admire her gentleness. Every time she eats a dish, her taste is strongly impacted, and she confirms that these are ingredients from her own kitchen. She never imagined that some ingredients could be combined together and still be so delicious. Sun Yunyang loved the Jiangnan 100 flowers chicken the most. She wanted to eat the second piece, but when she saw that there wasn't much on the plate, she restrained herself and put down her chopsticks. She wiped her mouth, held the plate in one hand, and grabbed her gentle arm in the other. "Let's go and serve the dishes." Gentle and clearly felt that Sun Yunyang had changed her attitude towards herself, and her attitude had become amiable. Sure enough, it's better to grab a person's heart than their stomach. Okay. Gentle also smiled and quickly served a plate of vegetables. The mother-in-law and daughter-in-law worked together, constantly shuttling through the kitchen and courtyard, and quickly served all the dishes. Under the sunshine, a harmonious scene seemed as if the previous contradictions had never existed. The program team timely added subtitles. The century reconciliation between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. The villagers have never seen or eaten such a delicious food, and everyone is holding chopsticks, wishing for a warm fork. Unfortunately, the amount of food is too small. If you want to take a second bite, it's already gone. As for the black sauce just discovered, it's not important, what's important is the food in front of us. Aunt Sun, your family's food is too scarce, it's not enough to eat. Yeah. Are these all made by your daughter-in-law? They're so delicious, your family is blessed. Miss Sun, I'll have a wedding banquet at home another day. Could you please ask your daughter-in-law to come and cook? I'll give you a big red envelope. Sun Yunyang has the best face, and she is also proud at this moment. She doesn't want to deal with those who dislike small quantities. If the quantity is large and delicious, the expenses will be high. I will give you more food later. There are still mantu when you are not full. Sun Yunyang greeted warmly. Uncle Chow stood up, holding a glass of wine, and took Sun Yunyang to toast from table to table. He originally thought that the celebrity daughter-in-law was too proud and didn't understand the rules. Who knew that she had a good cooking skill? Everyone was eager to praise, and he was overjoyed. According to the rules of the Chow family, the bride was originally not allowed to sit at the table, but due to the filming of the program, the Chow family specially approved her to sit between Uncle Chow and Sun Yunyang. At this moment, Gentleness had the opportunity to meet the husband arranged for her by the production team. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Calm Barbie. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Calm Barbie. Chow Jinbao is the youngest son of Sun Yunyang, a sturdy farmer who looks simple and straightforward at first glance. He sits beside her gently, motionless and afraid to look at her. There are two older sisters above him who have already married and moved to the neighboring village. They may have something to do today and haven't come to eat. Jinbao, does your wife look good? Some villagers joked. Chao Jinbao just turned his head and secretly glanced at Tenderness. Coincidentally, he was looking at him gently, as if he had been electrocuted. He immediately turned his head, as if nothing had happened just now. It looks good. He nodded, his face turning red along with his ears. Now, even Gentleness smiled, thinking that this person was too interesting. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Uncle Chao and Sun Yunyang finished paying respects to the villagers and then returned, holding their glasses in front of the two people in the middle, saying, "We also pay tribute to your young couple and wish you a young and noble son." Chao Jinbao quickly picked up his wine glass and almost knocked off his chopsticks. He felt a bit cramped and didn't say anything. After touching his glass, he started drinking. Okay. The gentle feeling was quite awkward, so I could only perfunctory and drank a cup of tea. If it weren't for the camera, she would have given the Chao couple a thumbs up, their acting skills would be amazing. It's just a show, is it necessary? You gave birth to a precious son too early. Seeing the gentle white eyes, the sunspots began to boil again. She can't even continue acting, don't look down on farmers. What's so remarkable about being able to cook a few dishes? I'm not from the countryside myself. To be honest, I don't like Gentleness, but it doesn't seem like I know how to cook a few dishes. This is a lost famous dish. I have tasted Gentleness in the kitchen and am not as eager to eat as others. But she realized that if she continued to slow down, she might not really have anything to eat. Other tables also experienced this situation. Not long after eating, an old lady took out a plastic bag and poured the vegetables into it. Sun Yunyang went to the kitchen to get rice and mantu. She took a mantu gently and ate the leftover vegetable juice. Before she could eat half of it, she found that most people were up and walking out of the yard. Is this the end of the scene? Just as they were gently puzzled, Uncle Chao and Sun Yunyang had already grabbed Chao Jinbao and ran to the door to see off the guests. When someone greeted him, he gently thought that he was not familiar with everyone, so he ignored him and continued to eat the remaining half of mantu. Strangely, the small courtyard that was just lively was filled with greetings, but now it suddenly becomes very quiet. She suddenly lifted her head and realized that except for her and the two staff members, everyone else was missing. Where are the people? Where have they gone? Gently curious. The big brother of the camera also looked confused. The Chao family had reserved food for them, and they placed the camera on the table, busy eating. Don't know. The camera guy wiped his mouth and stood up to look outside. Facing the tenderness of doubt, he spread out his hand and said, "No one." Looking at the mess in the yard, even when facing the camera, a gentle face couldn't contain a smile. She remembered the scene during the wedding ceremony, with all the tools big and small, and a bad idea came to her mind. The Chao family wouldn't want her to clean up the mess alone, would they? The Chao family doesn't understand the simple division of labor of cooking without washing dishes without cooking rice. It's obvious that she's bullying her new daughter. Law. At this moment, the camera brother's phone vibrated. He took it out, looked at it, and looked at Tenderness with embarrassment. The production team has assigned you a task to clean up the courtyard. Gentle and not angry, she laughed back. She felt like she wasn't here to participate in the program, but to undergo labor reform in the countryside. Okay. She gritted her teeth, rolled up her sleeves, and angrily took a large iron basin from the kitchen, throwing the dishes into it. When she was filming before, she also played the role of doing housework, but it was all about putting on a pose and washing 1 or 2 bowls. Not like now, I have to wash the dishes on the 4 big tables. The iron basin was filled with bowls and chopsticks, so full that even adult men had to grit their teeth to move it. Let me help you. The camera guy felt that this was a bit difficult for the girl, so he threw the camera to another staff member and walked over. When he grabbed the big iron basin with both hands and looked at the small mountains of bowls and chopsticks inside, he found himself struggling. Ah, he let out a low growl, his veins bulging in his hand, and then he moved it. However, he didn't walk too far, and the basin fell heavily on the table. The cameraman shook his head and wiped the sweat off his head, saying, "That. Gentle, I can't move it. Take out some bowls, let's move them in batches." "No, I'll do it," said gently and calmly. When she placed the dishes just now, she had already weighed them, and they were all weights she could accept. Just because the cameraman was too enthusiastic, she felt embarrassed to refuse. After all, she still remembers her agent portraying her as a cute and charming wife. She was a little mischievous when she received the affectionate tea today. Should she be cute enough? Now it's cooking and tidying up again, so she should be a charming wife. When she goes back, the agent and the company may not know how to praise her. The camera guy can't believe it. He can't even move a person who carries the camera every day, let alone a girl. However, he unexpectedly made a move and truly believed that gentleness could move. At noon, everyone went to eat, and the number of people in the live broadcast room was already reduced by half. Now someone is talking about being gentle and able to cook in another goddess's live broadcast room. Everyone didn't believe it and ran over to take a look, only to find that gentleness wanted to show off and move things, and couldn't help but mock. Show off, right? A grown man can't even move, can she? If she can move, I'll wash my hair upside down. Believe her, it's better to believe that autumn can kill pigs. What is my autumn goddess doing upstairs? My goddess is gentle and virtuous, she wouldn't do such cruel things. At this moment, gentleness walked up to the camera brother, without blushing or jumping. She bent down and placed her hands on both sides of the iron basin. The camera guy held his breath and was ready to come forward and help at any time. As a result, she stood up gently and straightened her waist. She didn't let go of her hand and walked forward lightly, holding the iron basin. She didn't catch her breath, let alone roar. The movements are flowing smoothly, as if moving a piece of tofu. The camera brother petrified on the spot, watching the gentle person squatting next to the faucet washing dishes. His gaze unconsciously lingered on those fair hands. Although the hand was cleaning the bowl, the camera guy always felt that the bowl was like his fragile head. And those beautiful hands are clearly iron fists. Netizens exploded, barrage of bullets flying. Is it really fake? The camera guy carries the camera every day and doesn't have as much strength as her. Terrifying like this. Calm Barbie, the devil's flesh and blood man. Who wants to wash their hair upside down? Live now. I announced today that I will break away from being a gentle fan of black fans. I'm so scared. Iron juice people, have you ever encountered this situation while eating at a banquet? While eating, someone was putting it in a bag. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. The Secret Evolution. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. The Secret Evolution. The popularity of the live broadcast room continues to soar. Rather than watching gentle household chores, it's more like watching gentle muscle shows. Goodbye. After quickly washing dishes and wiping the table, I stood gently in the center of the yard. I shook my stiff arm a little and noticed that the camera brother's eyes became evasive, as if afraid of her. She felt that she must have been overthinking. The cameraman was probably full and began to miss home. Gentle, we're back. Before Sun Yunyang's figure appeared at the entrance of the small courtyard, she heard her unique and powerful voice. Sun Yunyang knew that being gentle alone couldn't handle it, so she wanted to come back quickly to help. Anyway, my daughter-in-law is also willing to work, so she won't argue like a little girl. As she walked into the courtyard, she found everything neat and tidy. Besides, those 4 tables are also placed there. Sun Yunyang was completely stunned. My daughter-in-law is so capable. Son of a bitch, why are you walking so fast? Uncle Chow saw Sun Yunyang staring ahead and followed closely. He scanned the yard, then looked at Gentleness and nodded in approval. Chow Jinbao, the last one to come in, didn't dare to take a gentle glance and silently walked to the front of a table, shouting, "Dad, give me a hand, let's return this table to the villagers." His family only has one long table, and the other three are borrowed from the villagers. Oh. Uncle Chow quickly came over. Since his daughter-in-law has done so much, let her rest well. Moving a table with such strength still requires a man. Upon seeing this, Sun Yunyang quickly picked up 4 long benches, 2 in each hand, and followed the master. She also reminded Gentleness, "Good child, take a good rest at home." She estimated that these were gently picked up with the 2 staff members. Even so, it's tiring enough. Gently waving his hand at them, he looked at the remaining tables in the yard, and decided to hold the table with one hand, walking steadily outside the yard. The camera guy's eyes were completely dumbfounded, and he followed with fear, afraid to take close-up shots. Chow Jinbao and his father walked ahead. Due to their inconsistent steps and heavy table, it seemed difficult to move. At this moment, the two suddenly felt a gust of wind blowing and turned their heads to look aside. I saw 2 fans, gently held up, 2 tables, walking slowly beside them with a smile on their faces. They released their hands in unison, and the table stood on the ground in fear. Sun Yunyang didn't know what had happened, but when she turned her head, she saw the most unforgettable scene of her life. She loosened her hand and not only did the chair fall to the ground, but she also fell and sat on the ground. "Mom, what's wrong with you? I'll help you." In fact, Gentleness doesn't want to help. She is really poor and afraid of being misled. However, with the cameraman present and live streaming, it should be okay. If you don't help, it's impossible for Xiao Hefen to fight her again. Seeing a gentle, Toda Heavenly King, walking towards her, Sun Yunyang was so frightened that she immediately got up and picked up her stool with a quick movement. "I'm fine, don't touch me." She walked quickly. Uncle Chow and Chow Jinbao calmed down a bit, then lifted the table again, but couldn't help but secretly compete in their hearts and increased their movement speed. "Dad, where are these 2 tables from? I'll help you deliver them." Uncle Chow held his breath and remained silent. Chow Jinbao hung his head and gasped for breath as he replied, "The first one in the east of the village, and the last one in the west of the village." The words were full of ups and downs, so gentle that he was afraid he wouldn't be able to catch his breath. "Okay, I'll come and help you after I finish delivering." Gently stopped taking a walk and immediately walked away, tossing them a long way. She hummed a tune and even had the mood to appreciate the scenery of the village. The cameraman couldn't help but ask, "Gentle, do you often exercise?" "Of course." Gentle replied without hesitation. How else would she explain the source of her strength? Back when Gently served the dishes, netizens had already gone crazy once. Now when they see Gently holding 2 tables and strolling from the east end of the village to the west end, the barrage goes crazy again. Is the current female celebrity so curled up? Is this still a delicate little flower that can fall on flat ground? I think she must have secretly evolved behind our backs. Just now, serving the basin was already quite exaggerated. Now, lifting 2 tables empty-handed. Program team, are you all p? This is too fake. The gentle acting skills are very impressive, so it shouldn't be fake. This is a live broadcast, as we all know, videos are not good. Am I the only one who wants to know how Gentleness works out? To be honest, this is a healthy and powerful woman. I think she is very beautiful, much stronger than those who are on a diet to lose weight and can't twist the bottle cap. Most viewers are in a state of shock, and a small number of gangsters refuse to believe that Gentleness has such great power, insisting that the program team is deceiving and using fake props to attract attention. But the program was live streaming from beginning to end, and the villagers did eat at a table. All the data is normal, the only unscientific thing is the strength of gentleness itself. Maybe it's really a combination of fitness and physical exercise. So the comments of black fans are untenable and ignored. The first episode of the program has just started, and Gentle has contributed a lot to the ratings. Compared to the operations of other actresses, her route is too unique and cannot be replicated. Zhang Ji followed the sedan chair to her husband's house and happily enjoyed the wedding banquet, but encountered a wedding scene. If it weren't for the protection of her husband's family and bringing her into the room in time, she would definitely be embarrassed. She herself was optimistic, so she simply put facial mask on her room and went to bed. Huang Yi walked around the tea tree field several times and almost twisted her foot before finding her mother-in-law and following her back home. Although I arrived at my husband's house smoothly in autumn, I was starving all day. Because the mother-in-law's family is relatively conservative and still follows the old rules, the implication is that the daughter-in-law is best to bring her own dry food, and in the future, she can rely on herself and become a laborer without eating a single meal from the mother-in-law's family. However, the production team did not remind them to bring food for autumn, so they had no choice but to go hungry. Of course, the most unfortunate situation was still with Li Mingming. Her mother-in-law had a large population and had a big brother and sister-in-law. After a simple meal, the family got married and was asked by her mother-in-law to wash the pigsty. The smell was so strong that Li Mingming vomited on the spot. At the gentle point, her mother-in-law assigned her tasks and she obediently did them, but the more she looked at them, the more things went wrong, as if taking the opportunity to show off her muscles in front of her mother-in-law. This walking King Kong Barbie, even her mother-in-law is scared away. How dare you give her a face? There are not many Gentle fans, and most of the people who come into the live broadcast room are still running water. Some people have created emoticons featuring Gentle cooking, Gentle dishwashing, and holding a table with both hands, which quickly spread online and attracted more and more people to enter Gentle live streaming rooms. In the TV station, the producers and directors of the production team gather together to observe the effectiveness of the program broadcast. Lin Daiyu pulled out the hanging willows upside down, Lu Zhishen applied yellow stickers to the mirror, end of this chapter. Chapter 9. The New Generation of Little Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The New Generation of Little Flowers. In the past, Blue Channel was considered the top channel, but later Toilet Channel emerged and became the most popular TV station with its popularity in variety shows. This time, they overcame public opinion and created this variety show, pioneering the 24-hour live reality show in China. Everyone on stage pointed out that this time they could turn around, defeat the toilet stand, and regain the title of Top Brother. Director Ersheng sought out the director several times before applying for a huge sum of money, and finally hired the well-known goddess Huang Yi, actress Li Mingming, and national goddess Zhou, who had the highest audience favor. In the end, he sold his old face and finally hired Zhang Ji, the retired actress. However, since the start of the program, these goddesses who have been invited for a huge amount of money have behaved mediocrely and without any extravagance. If Celebrity Wife Married suffered a disastrous Waterloo, he may also be the end of this director. After all, when he applied for funding from the director, he gambled on his future. At this moment, the producer excitedly said, "Oh dear, the popularity of this live broadcast room is skyrocketing." The director was worried when he heard the good news and immediately looked at the producer's screen. His first reaction in his mind was Zhang Ji and Li Mingming. Did goddess Zhang Ji drive a wave of memories to kill? Or did Li Mingming rely on his superb acting skills to successfully ignite the conflict between his mother-in-law and daughter-in-law? Who is this? When he saw the people in the live broadcast room clearly, he felt a bit confused and soon remembered it again. Gentle, As mentioned by examiner Xiao Lu before, a little celebrity with a sky full of black materials. He originally intended to stay and continue observing, while also serving as a control group to set off other goddesses, but to his surprise, she became the biggest dark horse in the program team. "Move the camera forward and zoom in," whispered the ear student. At this moment, Tenderness had already dropped a dining table and was holding another table, walking briskly forward in the shocked eyes of the whole village. When everyone sees the picture clearly, there is a complete silence in the background. This. The new generation of little flowers. Ear Sheng sensed the opportunity to become popular. Whether the blue platform can turn around depends on this time. Attention everyone, all editors are on standby. Make sure to edit the videos of the 5 goddesses into interesting short videos and post them on various websites. Also, focus on gentleness. How many staff members are there on her end now? 2 camera crews. Just 2. Ear Sheng's expression instantly became serious, and he quickly said, "Notify the working group stationed in Annan and send 2 more people over. Be sure to take the photos seriously and get more close-up shots. If this program gets popular, everyone will have a bonus." The production team has arranged for a celebrity to be accompanied by 4 staff members, 2 cameramen, 1 makeup artist, and 1 accompanying assistant. There are only 2 gentleness. He almost mistreated the biggest dark horse of the program team, but fortunately, it just aired and everything happened in time. For the sake of the prize money, the staff started busy with their work as if they had been beaten with chicken blood. When editing the video, in this first episode, there were too many gentle highlights, such as cooking, washing dishes, moving tables. Although it's just ordinary household chores, being gentle can have earth-shattering effects. So, there were various small videos about gentleness and various titles. Do you want to eat Baihua chicken? Gentle transformation into a senior chef, online teaching. The irritable little chef, Master 1, does not rely on black technology for grand banquets. Mighty miracles, gentle hands take you to wash dishes. Noble dishwasher players, please take a detour. I'm just moving a table, are you polite? Everyone coincidentally searched for materials from her, always feeling that by promoting her gently, they could get a bonus. The cameraman received a notice and immediately approached the gentle, taking more close-up shots. However, he followed gentleness almost across the entire village. The hand holding the table gently was not tired, while the hand carrying the camera began to tremble. Finally, they arrived at the western end of the village. The family had just finished their wedding banquet at the Gentle family and had packed some back. Just as I was preparing for lunch break, I saw Gentleness pushing open the courtyard door and walking in holding a table. That posture seems to be about to cause trouble. You. Chow's daughter. In law, have something to say. Auntie, I'll return the table. As soon as I entered the door, I felt that the family was too nervous and looked at her with strange eyes. If I remember correctly, Auntie is the person who picks out plastic bags to pack vegetables at the banquet. You're welcome, just leave it there. The old lady casually pointed, and the whole family dared not come forward. With a loud bang, the table was placed far away in the corner of the courtyard. The whole family of Auntie trembled, and the camera brother who was still crowded in front just now is actually hiding behind. Close range instantly turns into distant view. Look at this posture, it's not like returning things, it's more like coming to challenge the gym. Annan has a strong folk style, and he is really afraid of being gentle and following his fellow villagers to fight. Auntie, she gently patted the dust on her hands and moved her arms slightly. Although her physical fitness has improved, she is indeed tired after working continuously for so long. She couldn't help but put the leftovers in the refrigerator and heat them up when eating again. If it goes bad and causes stomach pain after eating, she won't have the money to compensate by relying on her. Suddenly, she remembered the sponsor of the program and quickly smiled, aiming at the camera. Gale Refrigerator, for your sake, keeps you fresh every day. The camera guy is confused again. Instead, she gently adhered to her own non-awkwardness, and what was awkward was the spirit of others. She waved goodbye to the lady's family and didn't forget to promote it. If you don't have a refrigerator at home, go buy Gale brand, quality is guaranteed. Until now, the production team has not had any female celebrities advertise, and in fact, such tasks were not originally arranged. Advertisements are all presented in the form of opening announcements and pop-ups. At this moment, the flexible staff immediately hung a link to Gale's refrigerator in the Gentle Live broadcast room, and surprisingly, many netizens placed orders. They not only buy, but also call on others to join in. 666, Gale, can't I buy it yet? As a porter, I don't forget to advertise. I am truly an inspirational worker. Dear friends, I already have a refrigerator at home. I don't know why, but I actually want to buy it again. Stop me, I'm afraid of being beaten by my mother. Buy it, the quality of the Gale refrigerator is very good. I have been using it for 10 years and it hasn't broken down. It supports domestic products. Director Ear seems to have discovered a new continent, this gentle and skillful person with strong sales ability. Why hasn't he discovered this new star before? In front of the camera, after gently finishing the advertisement, she walked out of the small courtyard, leaving behind a bewildered fellow villager. The camera brother was a bit panicked and followed her step by step. Suddenly, a white object appeared in Yuguang, moving rapidly towards this direction. He turned his head and saw a big goose flapping its wings, making a sharp cry. Ah! Seeing the big goose flying over, the camera brother shouted and quickly ran to the Gentle side. Gentle, I'll tell you, geese can bite people, this is the village bully. For the big goose, the camera brother has a deep childhood shadow. Gentleness is not afraid, just curious about whose big goose ran out. In the distance, a beautiful figure chased after her, followed by a camera. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Village Bullies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Village Bullies, Big Goose, please stop me. A soft female voice came over without any deterrent power. The village bully, Mr. Big Goose, spread his wings, his fins accelerated, his neck stretched out, and he pulled it straight into a diagonal line. Don't come over. The cameraman couldn't calm down and ran back in fear. Gently standing in place, watching the goose open its mouth and pounce fiercely. Be careful. Autumn stopped, covering her eyes and afraid to look again. The camera guy gritted his teeth, but eventually turned around and picked up a stone from the ground, deciding to protect Gentleness. This is live streaming. From the Autumn Live broadcast room, you can also see the Gentleness ahead. In the Gentle Live broadcast room, Autumn's figure also appeared. The two goddesses were framed together, and the audience was excited. Why doesn't Gentleness run away? Big geese bite people very hard, they're all wriggling their flesh. When I was a child, I was also afraid of this thing. Not to mention when I was a child, when I grew up and returned to the village, whenever I saw a big goose, I had to take a detour. Isn't Gentleness strong enough? If it weren't for cheating, pinching the goose wouldn't be a matter of minutes. The camera focuses on the big goose, just as everyone is worried about Gentleness, the corners of her gentle mouth curl up, revealing a disdainful smile. The big goose flew over at a fast speed, and its mouth opened in a large curve. Unfortunately, it didn't catch the tenderness. How fierce is it? Gentleness was like picking a blade of grass at hand, accurately gripping the neck of the goose, and even pulling it out of the ground before it even took off. Gaga. The bully was not convinced and shouted solemnly, as if angrily rebuking Tenderness. The camera guy silently threw away the stone in his hand, feeling worried about Gentleness and overthinking it. Fitness tycoon, how could it be impossible to defeat a big goose? Autumn let go of her hand and peeked through her fingers, realizing that Tenderness had not been harmed, even subduing the goose. She immediately put down her hand and ran over in surprise. Gentle, you're so amazing. In the entertainment industry, Autumn and gentleness have never intersected. She only knows that there is one person who is participating in this variety show with her. Autumn reached out and poked the big goose's chest, laughing happily, "Are you running again? You're still killing me." Seeing Autumn making faces at the geese, I felt a bit gentle and immersed in it. She is truly the goddess of autumn. Being as agile as a deer, it's really adorable. In the past, how could she have had the opportunity to chat with the goddess? Thank you to the production team, thank you to the director, thank you to the agent. Gentleness, can you teach me how to control it? Autumn asked softly, only to find that she looked at herself blankly and blushed instantly. Gentle and stunned, she turned her direction and handed the goose to Autumn. "Don't be afraid, just grab its neck," she said. "No, no, no." As soon as Autumn's hand approached, the goose called out, but she still dared not take it. "I can't do it." "Then let me help you. Where are you going to send the geese? Is it really possible?" Autumn's eyes widened, flickering with anticipation. "Really?" Facing the goddess, a gentle and sweet smile appeared. Autumn breathed a sigh of relief and enthusiastically took her gentle arm, saying, "I want to take the goose home. Thank you so much this time." The Feng family, who married in autumn, is not far away. Through the description of autumn, Tenderness finally knows why the goddess is chasing a big goose. The Feng family doesn't give you food to eat. They even ask you to kill geese and cook in the afternoon. Gently felt a little angry, thinking that this was very outrageous. She had known that she had not eaten at noon in autumn, so she went back to Chow's house and brought some mantu. "It's not like that, my mother-in-law is very kind to me." Autumn waved her hand and quickly defended her mother-in-law Feng Meiyu. According to the village rules, a new daughter-in-law cannot eat her mother-in-law's food on the first day, which means that she can eat on her own and not be raised by her mother-in-law. But my mother-in-law changed her way and gave me the big goose she raised. I killed the goose to eat at night, which is equivalent to bringing my own dry food and not eating my mother-in-law's food. My mother-in-law was willing to give her the goose to eat, and she was really grateful. Thinking of this, she glared at the camera and angrily said, "If you want to blame it, blame the program team. They didn't investigate the local customs well and made corresponding arrangements." She screamed out in frustration, feeling a bit embarrassed. "Gentle, are you hungry? I'll treat you to a big goose tonight." "I'm fine, I secretly had some lunch." Gently raised an eyebrow, enjoying the goddess's stickers. The goddess is delicate and soft, so easy to bully that she really went hungry for half a day. Other words, gentle and not too much to say, so as not to make the audience feel like she is showing off in front of the goddess. The conditions of the Feng family are better than those of the Chow family, with a typical courtyard style. In the middle is a formal hall, with two wings on the east and west, a small kitchen at the entrance, and the rest is an iron door. A cement road has been watered in front of the house, and further ahead, there is a vegetable field and a large area of aquaculture pond, which has been surrounded by wire. Wang Meiyu is walking in the vegetable field, holding a small shovel in her hand, occasionally picking out weeds. At this moment, she happened to look back and found that Autumn had returned. Her facial features suddenly stretched out, and beautiful patterns appeared on her dark skin. "Laundry powder," she cheered and immediately walked out of the vegetable field. Wang Meiyu's Mandarin has a strong local accent, and others need to listen carefully to understand that she is shouting, "Daughter-in-law," but Autumn suddenly understands. "Mom, I caught the big goose." Autumn enthusiastically responded, waving his other hand in the air. The mother-in-law and daughter-in-law met, and the camera brother competed to capture such a warm scene. Gently moved aside, if it weren't for still holding the goose in her hand, she would definitely have left and firmly wouldn't block the camera. "Is this?" Wang Meiyu's gaze finally shifted to gentleness. Gently grabbing the goose, about to speak, but being preempted by Autumn. Mom, she is a good friend I met on the show. Her name is Gentle. If I hadn't met her just now, I wouldn't have been able to catch up with the big goose you gave me. Oh, come on, come in quickly. Wang Meiyu walked ahead with a small shovel. With a friend accompanying her daughter. Law, she doesn't have to worry about her being bullied by the program team. As soon as she entered the house, she gently threw the goose into the yard. The big goose lost its previous pride and remained motionless, squatting in the corner, looking as if it was waiting to be scolded. Mom, this time I'll close the gate of the courtyard so that the big goose won't run out. Autumn stood at the entrance of the small courtyard. Gentle, if you have something to do, you can go back first. When dinner starts tonight, I'll go call you. Killing geese is a strenuous task. The big goose may seem obedient now, but if it does move soon, it will definitely be a chicken flying and dog jumping again. Gentleness has already helped her a lot. If the goose accidentally hurts Gentleness, she will definitely feel guilty to death. I'm fine, I can help you kill the goose. With the support of the system, I gently felt that killing a big goose should not be a difficult task. Are you killing? The camera guy was confused. He has met someone who is afraid of things, but he has never met someone who takes the initiative to take care of himself. Is it not afraid of affecting the image of the show, which is done with blood and blood? As a saying goes, I was bitten by a goose when I was a child, leaving a deep shadow of my childhood. Now when I see a goose back in my hometown, I have to take a detour. It's too cruel. End of this chapter.